I want you to meet a 3rd Battalion, 5th Marine. His name is Freddy Torres. Let's give a clap for Freddy Torres.
So thank you for having me. Tremendous honor, privilege to be up here. Arizona born and raised, Tucson, 2 hours south from here. So to bring the honorable to Arizona, it's massive, something we've been waiting for a long time, and it's finally here. So Coach just talked about 3-5, the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines out of Camp Pendleton, California. It's outside of San Diego. I served with that battalion 2006, 2012. I joined the Marine Corps right after high school in 2006. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about a little bit about October 13th and a couple months after that. October 13th is when we lost those 4 Marines in Afghanistan. I was a couple of miles down the street from that big explosion. December 30th, 2010, there was a patrol out, a whole squad of 25 Marines patrolling on their first foot patrol dismounted. So they were walking around the village, talking to the local nationals, gaining intelligence, and doing what they did every day and patrolling. On their way back to their patrol base, the PV, they were making entry back to the patrol base, and on the back of the patrol, one of the Marines stepped on an IED, an improvised explosive device, a roadside bomb. That bomb was 25 pounds big. That bomb was made to completely kill every single one of those Marines on that patrol. Thankfully, only about 4 pounds of that explosives went off. That Marine that stepped on it, his foot was shattered, broken ankle. They got him on a stretcher and got him out of there. Made it, he's fine. Now, there's about 20 pounds of extra homemade explosives still sitting out there that the Marines had to go blow in place so that Taliban wouldn't use it against them. So the squad leader, who was a sergeant at the time, made a decision, hey, instead of taking all 25 Marines out again, let's take out 4. One will blow it and the other 3 will hold security. So they went out there, they placed a stick of demolition down, pulled the wire. 3 Marines around the corner were holding security for him. And from the east, about 200 meters, as he's getting ready to pull the demolition and blow the rest of the explosives, the Taliban opens up. They open up with their machine guns and start firing at those Marines. The sergeant, once he starts receiving fire, he raises his weapon up and starts running in the direction of the fire from the Taliban where they're firing from. He runs about 25, 30 meters, shooting back at them, and he gets to a little divot, a waist-high wall. And once he gets behind there, he was going to take a knee and start shooting back. He falls on his back and he looks down and he realizes his uniform is filled in red. He had been shot twice and he didn't even know it. Once he started looking down, he looks out to his left, and here comes one of those team leaders that was holding security, sprinting in, slides in, he grabs his medical scissors out, cuts his pants off, and blood was gushing out. His femoral artery had been shot. He had less than 2 minutes to live. So the team leader calls over the radio and it says, give me that quick reaction force. I need a stretcher out here now. My sergeant is dying if we don't get him out of here. So he puts his fingers on the wound, he puts his palm on it, puts some gauze on it, applies a tourniquet, controls the bleeding for a second. Here comes a stretcher, they bring it out, they put him on it. On the count of 3, they're gonna pick him up and move him out of there. On the count of 3, everyone opened up and they picked up the sergeant, and all guns opened up on the Taliban as they were moving him out. They had about 100 meters to go before they got to the gate where there was a truck backed up waiting to put him in there. As he's getting carried out, the sergeant on the stretcher puts his hand up to his left hand, or his left side, and he grabs the other sergeant that's carrying him out, one of his best friends, and he squeezes his hand and he says these last words to him. Tell my mom I love her, and tell my boys I'm sorry. He squeezes one more time and he says, tell my mom I love her, and tell my boys I'm sorry. Drops his hand, they get him in the truck, they get him out of Afghanistan into Germany, they get his body back to San Diego, where he started his recovery process. That sergeant lived. January 2011, the doctors told him, your leg's getting amputated, it's gone. It's gonna be gone next week. By the way, you're getting medically retired because you can't serve with a prosthetic. That sergeant took it upon himself and he gave that doctor a challenge. He said, give me a couple of weeks, let me start physical therapy and see how this works out for me. The doctor agreed And the 2 to 3 physical therapies a week turned into 2 to 3 physical therapies a day. 2 to 3 times a week turned into every single day, multiple times a day, in and out of the gym, in and out of the pool. And he was fighting back because he did not want his leg to get amputated. That was January 2011. The battalion was due back in California, back from that deployment, April of 2011, just a few months after that. Slowly, he got himself out of a wheelchair, got himself out of a walker, got himself off the crutches, started jogging, started running, because his challenge and his goal was that April 2011, when the battalion landed at that Air Force base and that staircase came down, he was going to stand there and greet his entire squad members. Now, those 3 months were not easy. They were hard, challenging, a lot of setbacks, a lot of surgeries, a lot of appointments. But I'll tell you right now, April 15, 2011, when that plane landed at March Air Force Base in Riverside, California, and that staircase came down, I stood at the bottom of that staircase. I hugged every single one of my squad members that saved my life on December 30th, 2010. That was me. When my doctor told me that my leg's getting amputated, I fought back. I took it as a challenge. I don't share that story to put myself up here. I share it with you because I faced a lot of challenges, a lot of adversities, a lot of setbacks, a lot of roadblocks, hit a lot of walls, just like some of you might be hitting that in life. Sure, I hit it with a medical procedure, an injury, but for the longest time, I'll tell you, I had shame and guilt in sharing this story. It wasn't until about 2 years ago where I opened up about it. I had a lot of shame because I let my squad down. I had a lot of guilt because I left halfway through the deployment. I made the decision to go back out there, blow that explosive in place, and I left my Marines out there. That's how I felt about it. The best part of this whole story, 2 years ago, God brought me to my knees. And he said, you're no longer a Marine. That's not your identity. Your identity now is to serve me, surrender, submit, give everything to God, let go of the shame, let go of the guilt. And I did that. I was obedient, and I gave everything to God. And now I get to minister to youth, high schoolers just like you every single week through my youth program at my local church. I get to minister to young adults, and I get to minister and lead in a men's Bible study group. And I truly believe that God kept me around, even though it took me 14 years to finally share this story, or 12, 13 years to finally share this story. I'm blessed to stand up here and share this story with you. So when you go out there, you're going to see some banners, and you're going to see the 25 faces of the Marines that didn't make it back. From October 7th, 2010 to January 20th, 2011, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines lost 25 Marines. And here I thought I was going to be on one of those banners, my face. And I was really close, but God kept me around for a reason. So whatever it is you're going through in life, not just an injury, not just out on the field, a relationship, family, finances, whatever it is, know that it's all mental and you can get through it as you push through it. Thank you again for having me. Good luck the rest of the season. God bless every single one of you.
First Sergeant Freddy Torres.